This I know this. I know this now.
Could even manage to make it through.
بس تحديدا ليش بشتغل يعني اكثر شيء كان متحمس عليه انه نشتغل مع ساينتست او مع العلماء هم قاعدين ينتجوا مواد للمستقبل، ففرصه انه انت تكون من ناس قريبين عندهم على الاقل توقعات، لانه هذول قاعدين ينتجوا مواد للمستقبل، ليش توقعاتهم هم، وتقدر تختبر عملك مع في منطقه جديده عليك يعني في الخير.
We are one of the 16 departments here, one of the smallest. That makes us extremely mobile and makes us also eager for new approaches.
Material science is a very popular topic these days because it's a very interdisciplinary field. You basically connect physicists, chemists, biologists, and engineers. And so we train people and we do research with people that are able to communicate between these more traditional fields. And that's the strength of our teaching and research.
That we invited artists to our lab has basically two sources. One is the source of education. Education is starting from, also in high school, from a STEM-based education, science, technology, engineering and math, to a STEAM-based education, where the additional A stands for arts and basically stands for creativity.
عندي على الأقل عندي الوسيط اللي أقدر أقول فيه الأشياء اللي أفكر فيها، ولا يمكن هذه الأشياء كلها راحت من يوم أنا صغير يعني.
Manufacturing a material, it's very important to control shape precisely and to control geometry, and at the end of the day this has analogies with calligraphy. So it was very interesting to see how Nasser does his work and extends this usual 2D calligraphy to the third dimension. In many cases that's something that we also try to do.
كنت جدا ولليوم مهتم كثير إنه قديش أقدر أطلع الخط من الوسيط اللي هو فيه إلى وسيط ثاني مختلف.
The thing that Nasser is doing is very interesting for me. He does calligraphy, writing in a like an artistic fashion, which also very close to my culture. When I was a high school student, this is part of our pedagogical curriculum.
And I guess the cultural aspect was very interesting to see and to realize that when we work in pure science, we're so focused on the scientific questions that many of these cultural aspects are not as evident as when you bring someone doing arts in a very different environment, very different context. That was very enriching.
So today when we want to develop new materials, sustainability becomes one of the key parameters. And especially in Switzerland, where there is this awareness. There is a global motivation in implementing the sustainability and the reuse of waste or of old materials into new products. So this is really part of our thinking now.
فحسيت إن هنا كيف من جد الناس يعني ماخذ الموضوع هذا بشكل جدي، وفي البداية كنت أحسب إنه بيحاول يسوي ذا الشيء، بس بعدين مع الوقت بديت أفهم من جد هذا الشيء هو مهم حقيقي، يعني إذا أنت ما اهتميت له دحين هذا الشيء راجع لك أنت.
Nasser, I think, taught us the importance of the visual property in a material. And this is something that, for example, working with a very black material like asphalt, which can be seen as unsexy in the science, was seen really nicely from Nasser. And he could see this black of the bitumen as an interesting input for his work.
وطبعا اللون الأسود هو مرة لون مهم في الخط العربي، وكان في خطاطين على مر التاريخ هم يصنعوا أحبارهم بنفسهم، فكان درجة السواد مهمة كمان في جودة الخط. فجربنا إنه إحنا نوصل إن إحنا نعمل حبر جدا جدا يكون أسود، بحكم إنه هو كان قد عمل رسالة الدكتوراه حقته بجزء من له علاقة باللون الأسود.
I worked during my PhD on the healing of microcracks in the asphalt roads. And the idea was to close the microcracks regularly so that you can extend the lifetime of the road.
فجربنا أول شيء بالزفت، ما حسيته نجح. ومع الفحم ومع الحجر المطحون، انه كيف تقدر تخلط مواد جدا طبيعيه مع بعض ومع الغراء العربي، انه بحيث تقدر تستخدمه كحبر وتقدر تستخدمه كلون وتقدر تستخدمه في انك تقدر تحوله وتستخدمه في المجسمات.
Asphalt is a very, very old material and where it's very hard to make innovations because it's slowly moving in the construction. And so today, my vision of this was to see how we could understand first the material, because there was still a lack of understanding of how it works, and then try to bring an innovation on it. Initially, I really work on this black part of the road that we call bitumen. And this black part is meltable with temperature. So the idea was to use small particles inside the bitumen that by applying a magnetic field regularly, for example in summer every year, you could melt the black part and close the microcracks that appear with the traffic and with the season. At the end, the microcracks can close and the road recovers its properties.
أنا وإتيان اشتغلنا على تطوير فكرة إنه كيف نقدر نخلي الحبر من شيء إنه هو 2D لشيء إنك تقدر تعمله ل 3D. وهذا الشيء أضاف لأفكاري إنه أنا بديت أهتم لهذا الشيء، ومن ضمنها قديش أنا كنت متحمس إنه أقدر أسوي مادة من الحبر الطبيعي تقدر تعمل منها مجسم، تقدر تعمل منها، تقدر تكتب فيها.
Aspects of his work which is very interesting, that he not only basically do the calligraphy also in 3D. Basically it comes from a 2D writing, and then he makes this nice or beautiful sculptures which basically transforms kind of from 2D to 3D, which to some extent also relates to my own research. You know, when I thinking about the origami also, you know, I have a flat sheet and then introduce some cuts and I stretch it, and then I come to a 3D morphology.
عادة الحبر هو دائما نكتب فيه على 2D على ورق، فكيف انت لما خطاط وتكون عندك فرصة انك تستخدم الحبر في شيء له علاقة بالثلاثي الابعاد او في 3D.
He wanted to take his concept of calligraphy onto maybe a different medium. He was trying to grasp how to make the most of what we were doing in the lab. One of the things that we are doing that is kind of new actually is to do this stuff with a 3D printer. When you grow a culture of bacteria in the biofilm, usually you do it on a petri dish, so just like a flat culture, and then you grow and expand your culture of bacteria. So we thought that it would be interesting to study how this biofilm evolved in like another dimension, and doing it with a printer is quite new. There have been examples, but they're all very recent. Science is also driven by inspiration, but in a different way. It is artistic, I find, but it still has to produce numbers.
لما أنا بكتب نص معين كنت أحب أقرأ عن هذا النص من الساينتست، من الشعراء، من الكتاب، من الفلاسفة، من الفنانين، من كل أحد طرح هذا الموضوع أو يتكلم عن هذا الشيء هو إيش قال عنه. جزء من أعمالي هي أحيانا يكون منها معلومات جاية علمية، فهذا الشيء أحسه مرة مهم.
He was very interested into making these expandable structures where he could try to project his calligraphy basically in a third dimension, not only on a sheet of paper, but also like on a different material, which could also morph shape in a way and have not only like 3 dimensions, maybe also a 4th dimension, so like evolve around time. And as one of the materials I work with are silicone elastomers, so it's basically like silicone rubber. We try to come up with a way to make one piece of calligraphy that he had designed on CAD into a soft expandable structure. He gave me the file, told me how more or less he was thinking of getting it, and that's how I started to collaborate with him. I tried some prints and saw how it was going.
وصلت لأنه لقيت إنه كيف ممكن تطبع بالون من 3D برينتر، وإنه تقدر تعمل الفكرة حقتك، فعلى طول جاء في بالي إنه كيف تقدر تطبع العمل هذا اللي تقدر تسويه بالون. بهذا الحالة أنت من جد وقتها قدرت تسوي مساحة للكلمة، إذا هي تقدر تنفخها وتكبر وتقدر تصغرها، فهذا الشيء بالنسبة لي مرة رهيب.
We would have required a bit more time to end up with his initial idea, because a big part of what we do is develop the material. So developing the material requires a lot of iteration. So In the end, I was not very happy on like a scientific point of view on the material that I was using for him.
We can choose which liquid we can put it here, or we can go around here. And
When I do it myself, I know where I can make compromises. But then I don't know how much compromises the artist would want to do. Because, you know, then what for me maybe it's just a corner which is less sharp, than for the artist has a meaning. An artist can see very different ways of creating parts. Scientists can benefit from the outside the box thinking that an artist has.
عشان تقدر تلاقي مساحة أكبر من جد لازم تفكر بطريقة مرة مختلفة.
And creativity for us is important in education because we want to create students that don't only solve known problems but also solve problems that they will encounter across their career paths. So they need novel concepts, they need to be creative. And we also, in a competition worldwide, we're a small country, we have small numbers, we can't basically do research to tackle all aspects, so we have to be more creative, smarter than the rest, and for that we need the artistic aspect.
طبيعة أعمالي بشتغل مع مواد مرة مختلفة، من خرسانة، من ضوء، من فيديو، من ورق، من قماش، دائما بشتغل مع مواد دائما مختلفة. فكانت لي فرصة مرة رهيبة إن أنت بتشتغل مع علماء قاعدين ينتجوا مواد جديدة.
Working in material science with people from all around the world, this is what we like. The interaction with Nasser was a win-win for our lab and for Nasser, especially because it broadened our horizon. So at the end of the day, the main culture difference was more an artistic point of view and a more scientific point of view. And this was two worlds meeting.